Hi folks, Deni is with you as always. It's not like there have been a lot of open world games coming out in recent days, especially if we are talking about really good ones. So I decided to put together for you a pack of really cool open world games that were released in 3 months of this year. Click on the like, click on the subscription if you haven't subscribed yet. Well, actually, let's go. The first Outcast, The New Beginning. This is a third-person shooter adventure. The game takes place in a very beautiful world, and the plot resembles the movie Avatar, right one-on-one. We enter this world with memory loss and try to figure out what's what, simultaneously saving the local population. We use various ranged weapons, which can be improved with modules, as well as a shield, which, by the way, can also be used to make faces. Well, there is also a jetpack. You can't fly it fully, but you can soar down somewhere. We explore locations, clear outposts a la Far Edge, communicate with characters, learn more and more about the situation in the world. One of the disadvantages is the lack of a familiar system for gaining experience, which is why there is no point in clearing outposts and generally fighting at all. It's easier to just run past the enemy because it's like fuck with them. With these hard workers on duty, well, there are questions about quests too. Of course, it's worth saying a few words about Dragon's Dogma 2. We are here in the company of hard workers, running around the world, destroying monsters from overseas, and enjoying the opportunity to climb them and poke in the eye with a sword, and not just kick on the heels as it is done, for example, in the same Dark Souls or Elden Ring. Of course, here you have a plot and dragons and a world of gigantic dimensions. The graphics are not bad, and overall, the game turned out to be cool. Well, welcome to the second part of Horizon, where the girl Eloy continues to terrorize the fur dinosaurs. Sony, as they have long accepted, port their games one by one to the PC, apparently because on the PC they sell just as well, and there is no big point in leaving the games exclusive to the PlayStation, so they merge the games. It's even more comfortable for us PC boyars, naturally, with the release, support for ultra-wide monitors, ray tracing, NVIDIA reflex, and a mountain of everything else that we turn on without really understanding what it does. But the main thing is that it's all beautiful. And this is a breath of fresh air in its genre. Here is an enhanced, from which we did not get out for literally a week, sucking out all the content of the game and going through essentially everything that was in early access. Planning alone gives you all sorts of emotions. It's very well done. It feels mega nice. Personally, I got the feeling that the developers were looking at Valheim and trying to remove various flaws that infuriated the players. The topic of group is a little annoying for me in Valheim. Here, it is more light. In Valheim, some kind of slightly strange pumping. Here, everything is as clear as possible. So also RPG elements are piled up, and you can at least become a full-fledged tank, even a magician. The game itself is quite dynamic, incredibly beautiful, but I don't say anything about flying in the game at all. In short, above all praise. One of the best games that have been released so far this year. Also, not so long ago, Arma Reforger flew up. Who suddenly doesn't know? Arma is a shooter with a small sandbox set, a bunch of equipment, and just a giant map. The first thing to say is nature. It's done great. You want to explore this world just by riding through cities and forests? Action animations are good too. There are a lot of pleasant little things, such as suspension of equipment, interior design, a system for refueling vehicles, destruction of small objects, shooting, which does not make you want to vomit, and of course, there is a huge potential for the future. The fighting here looks and plays very atmospheric. Battles for points, the ability to build fortifications, and a tactical element give exactly that excitement. Well, that's all. What else is needed? The downsides are unexplained frame drawdowns, even on my 3080, but otherwise, everything is fine. There were plenty of crazy open worlds too, especially when you consider that a major Goat Simulator 3 was released in the Steam. All AAA games are complete shit compared to this one, and no, not because AAA is mediocre in itself right now, it's just that this game is really fun. Do you want to be a goat? Wreak havoc with your friends on a huge map? Have fun to the fullest? Collect your goat? Butt people? Banana? Look for stuff? Then you are definitely here. What's also cool is that the progress of the developers is visible, especially compared to the second part, which was really as crooked as possible. Here, everything is much on a better level. You won't believe it, but the old, simply legendary game, the Sabouter, has been released in Steam, and the funny thing is that the game is as beautiful as the day it disappeared. This is a sandbox game. In addition to plot and side tasks, there are goals for free play, and the game world is open for exploration. The gameplay is characterized by freedom of action, and the color scheme plays a very important role. The entire territory, which is confidently controlled by German troops, is shown in various shades of gray. When the player completes various tasks and increases the local population's will to win, the world around them becomes colorful. In general, this is my childhood game. Here in front of you is not to say that it is ideal, but at least not an ordinary winter survival. At the moment, only the first chapter of the plot is available so far, and in my opinion, if the rest of the plot is not released within a year, the game claims to be Long Dark 2 according to its plan to release one chapter of the plot every year and a half. Well, it's also a little crooked, but otherwise, this is a very hardcore survival in winter times. By the way, there are also different modes. For example, the Endless Survival mode is quite interesting for itself. You can choose the difficulty level and initial resources. You can take a chance and put everything randomly. Wolves with bears are quite cute, especially when they don't eat you. About the survivors. Here, a couple of weeks ago, KeepUp Survival also quietly flew out, which I never told you about. We have a post-apocalypse here, and it has been over for a long time. Moreover, you arrived on this island by plane, although the plane did not fly. I pecked my nose on the asphalt, and you miraculously survived. A typical survival awaits you, with thirst, hunger, and fatigue. The construction of the base, the extraction of resources, a lot of stuff for this base, and even it is possible to tame and breed various animals, at home and not so much. The only thing that can help is that there are minor problems with the servers, but otherwise you can take a look. Don't say we can't. If you need something better and more elaborate, then there is such a thing. Robin Hood Sherwood Builders, a game in which you are the same Robin in Sherwood Forest, and your quest is to rebuild your forest from scratch to such a scale that they are afraid to poke into it. Gameplay is a huge sandbox filled with action. There are 4 zones available for us to explore. The world map is big enough to explore. On it we find quests, riddles, resources for crafting, etc. The world of the game is quite beautiful in its own way. There is a sea of construction waiting for you on them, and no less a sea of fighters. The closest thing to an action game is probably Gothic. There is nothing absolutely new or supernatural. The only thing I didn't like was that when approaching us, the enemies just stupidly accelerate. Accelerated animation. It's epic, of course, but it'll do. Well, it's not bad. You can definitely study for 40-50 hours. If 40-50 hours is not enough for you and it takes several hundred hours, then the best place where you can do it is Myth of Empires. This damn thing will eat up all your time. A wonderful game about how to lose faith in your strength and die 100-500 times from wild boars and other disgusting animals. On the official servers, despite the crappy ping, you will have a full-fledged world war for the provinces. Each province is a server, and you will be given the opportunity to arrange inter-server wars. Have you ever thought playing Ark Survival, damn, I want to outshine a human porter? Here it is possible. Here we have combined 3 of the most progressive and developed survivalists. Life of Feudal with its in-depth approach to various fields, Conan Exile with slaves, a satellite system and rock climbing, and Ark Survival with its animal breeding system and animal wars. On top of everything else, we have a direct dependence of weapons and armor, where hammering with slashing blows on the scales will cause less damage than hammering with some kind of hammer. Plus, it is possible to lead several soldiers and use a variety of formations. It is possible to build a full-fledged city in one muzzle and defend it in one muzzle while successfully, well, give or take. In general, this is a whole world, which can be dragged for a very long time. Well, another pleasant moment is that we recently released Sons of the Forest. With it, the developers threw in a good patch, bringing a pack of not bad improvements, new content, and everything else to the game. If you haven't played Sons of the Forest before, I highly recommend that you fix it. The construction here is definitely better than in the first part. In addition, we have our own slave assistant, Kelvin, who can be bullied and forced to work. Well, the presence of firearms makes the game a little easier and much more interesting, especially when you kick with simple Aborigines who do not understand that you have a firearm in your hands. In general, a wonderful thing, just like the whole video today. I hope you have found a good game with an interesting world for yourself, and that's why we've spent money on likes and subscriptions too. Well, Deni was with you as always and all the best.